Good afternoon and hello everyone. Happy Sunday, May 17th, and we are back on our podcast. We want to thank you for tuning in and watching all of our interviews that we've had on our YouTube channel. But you know, this is what it's all about. It's about community, it's about leadership, and it's about people stepping up to be in leadership. You know, all of this is so, I tell people every time, you can vote for a president, you can vote for a senator, a congressman, and a governor, but there's no one who's going to affect your livelihood on a day-to-day basis than your local elected officials. And I have had the pleasure and honor to serve now for 7 years as your county commissioner for District 3, and many, many seats, including new ones, are up for this election this year in 2026, which means essentially you could have 6, maybe 5 new commissioners and a new mayor. Many of you know it's the worst, best secret in Orange County. I'm running for Orange County mayor, and we'll be talking about issues regarding Orange County all along this conversation. And of course, I ask you to stay involved, stay tuned, follow us, and learn more, but more importantly, get engaged with us. But I'm excited for our guests today. We have 2 guests, 2 different seats, 2 different parties, but one love. Orange County. And I'm going to start off with Mr. Randy Ross, candidate for Orange County Commission, District 3. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
How are you doing today?
Doing great.
All right. You got the that means really awesome, Randy. You know, and you've actually lived in Orange County a long time. Do you want to kind of share?
33 years, yeah.
33 years. And how has Orange County treated you?
Actually, very well. You know, I came here in 1993, and that got me an entree into politics because Mayor Glenda Hood was our downtown city of Orlando mayor.
Yep.
And they did an all-call for people to get involved in inner-city games Orlando. And so before I knew it, I was sitting at the table with Disney and Universal and SeaWorld, and we did this amazing program for Title I students, specifically 4th and 5th graders. And they would write an article about why health and fitness is so important to them. And it's still a passion point for me as well. You know, you take that travel through different stages of your life. You know, in the early 2000s, I thought I need to move downtown. So that's been my home for most of the time. And that's how I created Walk a Mile in Her Shoes for Harbor House, which was to bring awareness to domestic abuse. Having been a survivor in the very first same-sex relationship I was in, I went through that cycle. And so you start looking at different ways that you've touched things in your life, and you're like, what are you going to do with all that now? And certainly the journey I'm on with my mom when it comes to senior services and how I've had to work within the county to navigate that system. That's the reason I'm running. The reason I'm running is that's 30-something years of watching our county grow, maybe growing too quickly, and looking at different ways. When I see a problem, I want to get involved in the solution. Right.
That's awesome. And we're going to come back to you about your inspiration to run for office. But another guest sitting here with us, actually, I have a relationship with him that goes back very far, not only from politics, but actually he was my chief of staff at one time until he went on to his own political endeavors, and that's Mr. Wes Hodge, candidate for County Commission District 2. I'll feel it. Okay, everybody deserves their... Okay, can we do one more? There you go. Welcome, Wes. Welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here. It's always exciting when we get to sit down and chat, and I always love our conversation, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and I do want to ask you, so tell us, how long have you been in Orange County, and what's inspired you and gotten you to, not to run for office, because I want to get into that, but get involved?
Sure. So I moved here when I was 8 years old. So next month will be 41 years. I know.
That means he's going to be 49.
I'll be 49 this summer. Yeah.
Almost a big 5.
But, you know, we moved here. I grew up here, went to Lakemont Elementary School, Glenridge Middle School, graduated from Winter Park High School, Valencia College, and UCF. So, you know, this is just my home. And, you know, I loved living in Orange County. I've lived out by UCF. I've lived by the airport. I've lived over in Gotha. I live in Lockhart now. You know, I've seen all different corners of the county. I'm familiar with what's going on, obviously working with you. Got to see a lot of what was going on in the core of Orange County. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit about where I've been and then why I got involved. More than normal was when I was 31, 32, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. And so I had to go through cancer treatment, and that process lost my health insurance, went 4 years, had a recurrence, and had to navigate that system with no health care insurance. Wow. And so that really got me into advocacy work. That was also the time we were talking about the Affordable Care Act. And people like me with pre-existing conditions couldn't qualify for meaningful health care insurance. And so that propelled me into the political realm, got me involved with the party, and that's kind of how I ended up, down this path that got me involved with the county party and eventually the state party.
Wow. We all have a story that you really don't know what makes you turn it on, right? Because there's a lot of people out here and people go through things, but where they channel that to actually in action and something they believe in, but not only what they believe in, but actually what they fight for other people. And that's going to bring us down to this political season, because both of these gentlemen are running for office because they want to bring that advocacy and that passion to Orange County, to Central Florida. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Wes. You have been part of the Democratic Party. You actually did run for supervisor of elections.
I did.
And I will say you were very qualified because you knew the election process. And it's one of those seats where you're not advocating for health care or for roads or for anything like that. You actually want a system that's easy, that's accessible, and that encourages people to vote. But now you're running for County Commissioner District 2.
Yes.
What said, well, first of all, I actually agree that you ran for something, you knew what you did, you came up short, but it didn't lose that passion. But what made you say, County Commissioner District 2, that's what I want to do?
Well, honestly, the people. In that campaign in 2024, it was a county-wide seat, and as you know, this county is huge. And through that process, I met a lot of different community groups and a lot of people and built relationships. And so even though I lost in 2024, I still got 87,000 votes, which is nothing to sneeze at.
No?
And
Achoo.
Yeah, achoo. Excuse me. But, where I live now in District 2, it was no secret that Commissioner Moore is terming out. We have 8-year terms for county commissioners, and so there was going to be an open seat. The neighbors, the residents, the community started asking me, would you look at this seat? And I was like, no, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm working for the county again as a chief of staff. I'm happy where I'm at. And those conversations just kept happening and kept happening. So finally got to the point where we had a conversation with my husband, and we said, should we do this? And he was like, I don't know. You've got to see how much support you actually have. So to put it to the test, I filed on May 1st, and we had 10 days left to qualify by petition. And so between May 1st and May 11th, the community, not me, but really the community, rallied 1,152 petitions to get me qualified for the ballot. And so, that energy, that work, and it was people I've never met before, people from community groups, people from rural settlements, working together to make that happen. And so I was very humbled by that, but also affirmed by the fact that this is not just Wes Hodge running for office. This is the community saying, we want you to represent us. And I take that very humbly and seriously.
That's great. And what people don't realize, it takes a lot to run for office. It takes a lot to be in office. But it's easy from afar to make judgment. It's easy from afar to judge people like us. And we're all human beings. And I know both of you, and I know for the fact there's no big win at the end of this. It's really putting yourself up to serve and to really sacrifice a lot. I know I have 2 kids, and this morning I actually was home longer, and my daughter says, wow, it's really nice to have you at home. And it kind of hurt my heart. It made me feel good, but it hurt my heart because that's what I'm known for being really busy. But I treat my community like my family. People know that I'm a hugger. I mean, they sent me to Publix yesterday to get lunch, Lincoln and I, and we came back an hour and 15 minutes later, and it was a mile away from the office. And they called and they're like, is everything okay? I'm like, well, we ran into people, it happens. And we did. And we ran into a lot of people. And so, Randy, you talk about you're your number one caretaker of your mom.
Yes.
And I know that very intimately. I was my mother's caretaker. and you go through a lot. And also, people are so quick to put us in a box because we think differently. What was that inspiration for you to say, I want to run for county commissioner? I don't ever think the timing's ever perfect for anyone.
Yeah.
If it's perfect, then it's wrong. Right. I think both of you, including myself, are sacrificing a lot to run for office. And if we could have it perfect, probably now wouldn't be it. But life's not made for perfect. What made you say, I want to do this, and I'm going to do it now?
I think there were a couple of different scenarios.
And what's inspired you? What inspired you to do that too?
The community. In 2017, obviously Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. And at that point, I was looking around saying, what are we going to do? What can we do? And people were doing little one-offs. But I decided to put together I4 for Puerto Rico, where we worked with then Governor Scott, now Senator Scott. And it was a combination of Democrats and Republicans and MPAs. The labels were gone because we also got hit here in Florida. Texas got hit as well that same period of time. You don't get 2 million pounds of aid into Puerto Rico, air cargo, in a matter of 3 weeks without a huge community outreach. And it started making me look a little bit more closely at how things happen in the county. It's no secret I'm in my third term on the Orange County Membership Mission and Review Board, thanks to you. Appointed 7 years ago, I guess now. Currently the vice chair of that board. And what we do is elevate people to various advisory and volunteer boards in Orange County. And I watch the applications coming through. I watch the folks that have a desire to serve. Not only are we recruiting for our own boards, but there's clearly an interest in people still wanting to serve their community. And there's no secret. What I've gone through in the last 5 years as a caretaker for my mother made me realize that seniors in Orange County, I don't care what party you're involved with, families abandon seniors usually. I know many people that get dropped off at ORMC that are the nurses tell me stories about how their senior gets dropped off. They get healthy enough to be released and nobody comes to get them. They either end up on the streets or they end up in a nursing home. I was destined not to let that happen to my mom. And it's been a struggle. Certainly, most of the money in the beginning was out of pocket. So my lifestyle changed dramatically, going from the big house to the small space. Fortunately, now we do have in-home hospice care. And again, navigating that and learning how that became an option with her neurologist is something that if you don't have someone to help you, you're in real trouble in this town. And a lot of people, my mom can look at my cell phone and not even know that it's a cell phone. There's just certain things that have happened technology-wise over the years that have changed the way we work with and appeal to seniors. So I look around at my neighbors and I look around at the ones that don't have the support. I think we could be doing a lot more outreach in the community than what we are. And that's exactly what one of my platform issues is senior care and how we can improve those services for Orange County senior citizens.
You're very right. So I serve on the executive board of the Transportation for the Disadvantaged. And so the way transportation works is we work as a region, Orange, Osceola, and Seminole. We have 1.5 million, respectively, between Seminole and Osceola County, about 1 million people. They use over 50% between the two of them, the senior and disabled transportation than we do in Orange County. Not because we can't, because people don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do need more advocacy. And it really bothers me because my mom used it. That's how I got on this board. My mom used Transportation for the Disadvantaged, which is called Access Links. If you don't know, you need to find out. It's under links, but it's called Access Links, where they come to your home and they will take you to your doctor's appointment, your dialysis appointment. They'll take you shopping and things like that to give you some more independence. But you both have very particular things that made you say and step up. But now I'm going to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty. What are your top 3 things when you talk to someone and you're saying, I'm running for county commissioner because of this, this, and this, and I want to do this, this, and this when I become commissioner?
I think for me, that started about 11 years ago when I was working very closely with the fire department and the police department regarding the various rallies that we were putting together. I had a total new respect for the work that goes into that. Even watching recently, Wes and I were at the same meeting with the fire department and the union and everything, watching the struggle that they've had to go through for increase in pay, increase in benefits. Those things matter because when you have safe communities, you have safe families. That's number one. So it's one of my top priorities is to make sure law enforcement, first responders, and fire department folks are all taken care of at every level. That's how we help the families as well. Certainly, there's no secret. I've already talked about it. Senior care is important to me. And also, I'm one of the only candidates that's talking about the TDT dollars and how I really would like for us to take a look harder
Not
at those.
the only one.
There's several.
Stay tuned because we're going to talk about that. Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, there's some people that think we should just add a penny sales tax or this and that, and I don't believe in that. That was created decades ago, almost 50 years ago, really for the Orange County Convention Center. And certainly as we watch the numbers, and I've attended the transportation meetings and started getting a little bit more in tune with what's happening, because to me, downtown is not where the Lynx building is. Downtown is the airport, MCO. There's no secret. There's 50-something million travelers coming through there. They project in 5 years it could be maybe 150 million. Are we ready for that? Are our roads ready for that? Are things like our fire and first responders ready for that intake? I'm going to tell you, I don't think we are. But where does the money come from? And I think that if you look at the county commission, that's why I look forward to supporting you, because I know that you would look at things like this. Secondly, we'd have to get the Central Florida delegation behind it. And then we go to Tallahassee and we lobby to make sure that, not to take all of them. We're not trying to ruin tourism. We just want to carve out a little piece of it. Imagine if we took 10% of the TDT dollars and applied them to some of the issues I just brought up. It would change the total landscape of how we handle those problems in Orange County.
Well, and I think, and I know Wes has a big one on this, and so do I, but I want to say, if you actually put money in transportation, tourism will actually get better.
Sure.
Because accessibility and infrastructure will be better. So Wes, I know we don't want to go down the TDT route. Okay, we're gonna come back to that, because I want to start with, what are your top three and how do we accomplish that?
Absolutely. So obviously, number one is affordability. As I've been out talking to voters, they can't afford to live in Orange County anymore. And so it's not just low income housing, because we've been trying to address that as a county for a little while, but it's market rate housing and it's above market rate housing. We need all three addressed. It's not just we can address one and it'll address the others. We need to approach all three different aspects of housing anyway. Secondly, we've got to build sustainably. We cannot grow out. We've seen as a community the deficit that creates. More miles of roads and stormwater only makes it more expensive to maintain it. So we need to look at where we have existing infrastructure and work on increasing density, and partner that with mass transit options, multimodal transportation options. And you only get those if you have the density to support it. So these are kind of interconnected.
Totally.
So those are probably one of the biggest things for me. The other thing that I want to talk about is obviously making sure that tourism pays for itself. We have 220,000 visitors every single day that live in Orange County. They use our roads, they flush the toilets, they send stuff to the landfill. They don't pay their fair share.
They don't pay any share.
They don't pay any share.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that tourism is a good neighbor for Orange County. And I don't want to penalize them. I mean, look, we're number one in the world. We got there because these people are the best of the best. But what we need to do is make sure that when tourists leave, they had a positive experience. And we can talk about that a little bit more down the road. And the other thing was just making sure that people are heard. People don't feel like they have representation. They feel like, everything is predetermined. Developers get whatever they want.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Hear that all the time.
Yeah, and so I want to make sure that people know that they have a champion in me on that board. They don't have to worry about, well, how's Wes going to vote on this? Because our voters have made it clear on several key issues: a rural boundary, protecting our environmental resources, stopping urban sprawl. They voted overwhelmingly on these issues. So, we've got our mission from the voters. Now we need elected officials that will implement that, and that's what I'm here for.
I think I agree. Both of you guys brought up very big points, because growth is going to happen, right? But it's got to be responsible.
Right.
And it's got to be responsible to Mother Nature. I always think it's funny whenever I sit in a meeting and someone says, well, the water's going to flow this way. And I love how they love to tell Mother Nature how things are going to happen as you concrete over Mother Nature. But it's a balance, it's a balance, and it can be done. And it makes more sense to build where you have the infrastructure than to go somewhere new where there is none, because actually the ones that suffer are the ones that are going to live out there, because they're going to be the ones without adequate infrastructure, adequate roads, adequate access to everything. But you both make very great points. And, we discussed on the seniors, right? We We should. Now, but we also hear 1,000 people are moving to Orange County every week. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal a couple weeks ago. It's actually gone down. It's 890,000 people. So it has slowed down. But I always tell people, what type of people are moving here? You know, is it senior citizens? Is it young families? Who is moving here? And we're also seeing a lot of, one thing that I've noticed, and Wes works for one of my colleagues, a lot of the applicants are not your regular applicants that you supply. A lot of foreign investment coming into Orange County. So they're looking to grow and build here. But we're going to see a change in Orange County, right? It's going to happen. When you look at Miami, it's built out. It's built beyond it. You know, Tampa's competing, but they're also very wet, you know, so they have limitations. And then people talk about Jacksonville a lot, and Jacksonville's going through some unique transitions. So Orange County is coming. What do you think the next 10 years? Because essentially when you get elected, it's going to be about a decade, you know, the effect, the cause and effect. What do you see happening? We're in 2028. If we were to have this conversation 10 years from now, 3038, what do you think has changed in your mind locally? What would you like to see change, and what do you think systematically will be changing?
Well, you will still look amazing, so you know, we don't have to worry about that.
Liars, so he's a liar.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, the princess.
Love it. No, but what I would love to see us do is actually have a robust transit system in the next 10 years. You know, Sunrail is a good beginning, but we've got to expand to nights and weekends. We've got to tie into the airport. We've got to tie into the convention center. We've got to tie in to the Northwest. We've got to tie into UCF. Make it to where it actually serves the community. That's how we're going to make it actually become successful. What we have right now is a joke, honestly. Like, it's just
nothing connects.
I would love to take it. I live a mile from the Maitland Train Center. I work downtown. I would love to take it, but the schedule does not align with what I need it to do.
Not to mention the walk is long,
right,
to the county building.
And you know, but it doesn't serve the community that it's supposed to. So if we can increase frequency, make sure it runs at nights, tie it into the airport, then we have something that we can build off of. I think that is the key to unlocking a lot of the problems that we have. Once you have a reliable transit system, and this includes increasing links, frequency, and locations, once it becomes more convenient and less convenient to be in your car, people will start to use it. That then allows us to put more mid-rise buildings along those corridors to increase that density and take the pressure off. You know, our farmers and our agricultural industry is struggling right now. And,
totally.
And one of the biggest issues they face is how much their land is worth because of the pressure from developers. You know, we were at a UPIC blueberry patch yesterday, Beck's Brothers down in Windermere, and you just look around the farm and it's all houses. And here's this one little blueberry patch still holding on. But, you know, that's the story that our agricultural community is telling us, that there's such immense pressure for them. So let's work on building the infrastructure to help support the density, take that pressure off of the sprawl.
Sounds good. And Randy, I want to pose the next one. 2038. What do you hope that you've helped accomplish, and what does that look like?
Well, I'll be 70. That scares me a lot.
Oh my gosh!
But no, the thing that
really?
I love,
well, he looks awesome.
The mark
look into that shot a little bit more. I'm 72, so I guess we're doing well.
Yeah. You know, I think if you ask, you know, how you want to be remembered, how are you going to leave your mark? Certainly,
and not necessarily how you're going to leave your mark, because I think it's a team, right?
Yeah.
But what you hope to envision that your time in service will help accomplish.
I think this is something Wes and I would agree on. I saw a conversation taking place on my political page. I'm very much against this House bill that could be renewed in 2027 that would allow for this quickness in construction that needs to drastically slow down. And I know the Republicans are leading that charge. I do not support that. I mean, when I used to drive to Apopka, I lived on 535 when I moved here, you know, back in 1993. There was nothing. I had to drive 30 minutes to go to the Home Depot at Hiawassee and Colonial.
Wow.
You know, I went out there the other day just kind of drive, you know how you drive where you've lived, and I didn't recognize it. I didn't understand it. I used to do board meetings in a Popka for community health centers in Central Florida when I was on that board, and it seemed like I was going into another state. And now you go into a Popka and there's all this density, apartment communities, new housing communities all the time. I'm not quite sure how all that's getting approved so quickly unless I look at these legislative opportunities where they want to make decisions for local municipalities and counties. That should be home rule. That should still be something we have control over. So we can't get mad at the county commission or even the city when we're allowing Tallahassee to make choices. I think it's one of the things that separates me as a county commission candidate, because I do have those relationships with Tallahassee, because it's no secret what party is running Tallahassee. Locally, I've got to work with Democrats. I absolutely do. I mean,
you live in a blue county.
I voted for Wes. I work with you. I work with anybody that I feel like is going to be trying to do better for Orange County. And it's actually kind of an honor. They don't sit there and make it difficult for me. I sit on the MMRB. I'm the only conservative on there. And I get along with them great. All those folks, they have a similar drive, and that is, we've got this issue, let's do it together. We can accomplish so much more together than we can on our own, and I've really never tried to do it on my own. I step out when I see a weakness, and I go towards that. I run towards that. I'm not a first responder, though. If I see an accident, I'm like, I'm not that kind of person.
He's not running there.
I'm not doing that. I'll let these amazing fire folks and first responders handle that. But when I see a problem, I will make sure I try to get a solution. And often that means, for example, not just calling you. It could mean calling Commissioner Simrad's office, Nicole Wilson's office. It could be calling a tax collector. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It comes down to there's got to be a way to get the resolve that we're looking for. And I think we do that by not having this completely partisan BS that always seems to surround us, either at a national level, at a local level, and we figure out better ways to get along with each other. I mean, I actually like Wes. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can believe it. I like Wes too.
Am I supposed to say I like Randy at this point too?
Yeah, he's first of all, Randy has said, I like Wes. I voted for Wes. But no, Wes is a good person, and I believe Wes feels the same about you.
Yeah, I mean, I really have a lot of respect.
He can't vote for you, though.
I know. I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for people in the other party. I was in the other party.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm a total stranger to that process. And certainly my work in politics in the last 11 years has been unique for Orange County. But at the same time, I've never shied away from supporting the people that I believe in.
You look at the person.
I do. I absolutely
you
look
do.
at the person.
Well, guys, we've talked a lot of business, so now it's time to talk a little fun, okay? Because our listeners and your followers who could be tuning in for the first time because they haven't met you yet, may be wanting to know what makes you you, okay? So we love to call it, what is it, Phil? The fast fire question? I don't know.
Come on, Mayra.
I know. There we go.
Call the hot seat.
No.
Is this who wants to be a
The
millionaire?
hot seat. Hey, we don't talk about that. Just like we don't talk about Bruno, we don't talk about the music because it is allowable and it's used.
Wait, let it drop.
I'm gonna do the first one, Phil, but I'm gonna let you chime in because Phil gets very creative because he is not political. Okay.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to start with the first question, and I'm going to start with Wes. Okay. And they're not the same, by the way.
Oh, great.
All right.
So, for fun, do you like to, and this is going to be an easy one, do you like to exercise or watch a movie? For fun.
For fun. I mean, it's definitely not exercise. So it would have to be watch a movie.
Okay. What do you like to do?
I want to do for fun.
What do you do for fun?
For me, for fun, it's either travel or I have an aquarium at home.
Oh, yeah, your aquariums.
Yeah.
Is it
Wes
saltwater?
is highly,
Yeah. Oh,
yes,
wow.
aquarium water,
That's
agua,
very hard.
aquarium.
That's a hard
Yes.
project.
No, the most asset that Wes has is his aquarium. And ask his husband because it's true.
It's true.
All right. So, Randy, I'm going to go very, very different with you. Do you prefer to hang out with friends or travel?
Well, in the last 5 or 6 years, I haven't got to travel much. I got to go to Germany last year with some friends, and my aunt came and stayed with my mom. But I really do enjoy brunches on Sundays and hanging out with my friends. And it's a small group. It's not as big as, sometimes I think we look at social media and we think, oh, they've got this huge circle. My circle's really, really, really small. I tell your husband all the time, in politics.
I have a husband.
You do.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The First Lady of Orange County. I tell him all the time that I don't think you make a lot of friends in politics. And he and I have had this discussion back and forth. I consider you and Kevin friends. And often what happens is in politics, people are always looking for what they can get from you. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's kind of the opposite. I'm older now, so I can see that they're trying to take. And it's got to be a two-way street for me with my friends. So that's why I have a small
I think you're right. And I will say, Wes is a very good friend. A couple years ago, there was this thing called the World Cup. And if anybody knows me, is that I love, I'm Argentinian, half Argentinian, and I love soccer. And I talked about this so much, and I came in one day to my office, and Wes had decorated my door in Argentina stuff.
Oh, that was nice.
And it made me so happy because that's what friends do. They listen and they do something. And it's true. And you both are very aware of this. We don't have a lot of friends in this. We have a lot of acquaintances.
That's right.
There's people we can call. Our Rolodex is huge. But I think if they said you've only got 3 friends you can call, I don't even know if all my friends would be on that Rolodex. I mean, like literally. But we're going to change that because this kind of conversation, and hopefully both of these men will have an opportunity, whether here or somewhere along the line, to work together. And that's how you start changing it and reverting back. I mean, really, 20 years ago, Washington, they were all friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was no political affiliation. There was no, I'm against you, this is anti each other. We were 2 people who voted on something and we maybe didn't agree, but we could still go out to dinner.
Yeah,
right?
I think that changed in the 24-hour news cycle. I think that changed a lot. I mean, in Indianapolis, where I'm from, we used to sit on the front porch, and you got one newspaper a day, and you couldn't wait to, I didn't care about watching the news back then when I was a kid, but there was one newscast. And today, it's everywhere. I would argue social media is, while wonderful to promote, I think it's been part of the downside of what happens, because people can go online, and I see it on my own political page, and they can just destroy each other. But when they meet them face to face, they actually get along. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
So, Phil, do you have some great questions for us while we're in the hot seat?
Yeah. First, I want to know, Wes, is that a saltwater aquarium?
Of course. Yes. And there's 2 of them, and I'm just going to stop there because I get in more trouble.
Do you have a Dory and a Nemo?
Of course.
Yeah.
They are a lot of work.
They are.
They
tried
are.
that once. Yeah.
I think that's your relaxer too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're ready, Phil.
Okay. So this is how I'm going to gauge on whether I really like you guys or not. So first question. If you could choose any superpower, only can choose one, right? But the other person has to say your weakness.
We're confused. We're all...
Okay, so if Mayra, you choose a superpower, that means Randy will have to choose your weakness.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so forth and so forth. So I want to hear from everybody. So let's start with Mr. Randy Ross.
What superpower would you like?
I would like to fly.
He would like Superman. To fly. Now, who gives him his weakness?
Let's go with Wes.
With this traffic in Orlando, you have to fly. That's the only way to get around right now.
So what weakness would you give Randy?
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. This is a hard question. I mean, I don't know.
So he's gonna fly.
He's gonna fly. This is not a good. This is not.
He has. How about he has no strength? He's weak.
Oh my gosh.
So, oh gosh. Why am I so prepared for this? This is not a good sign of me. Okay.
Hold on a minute. Yeah, he's never prepared. He can fly to get there, but he's never ready for these things. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Sorry. That's all I can get.
All right.
That just flew way too easy.
Let's go to Wes. Wes, what is your favorite superpower? What would you want?
I would have to go with strength.
Strength?
Let's go with strength.
So meaning you could push and pull and
lift those aquariums.
Randy, what weakness would you want to give him?
I don't like to think negatively like that.
I know, it's in fun. He'll never be the strongest.
I think that when I look at a relationship and the health issues that he's had, it makes me wonder sometimes if the politics draining, would be really a lot for you. And I know that was a big consideration of you getting in this race. I've not gone through a severe illness like that before, and I think it would be hard to muster up that energy because this is not easy work.
This is a fun round. Yeah. You're really bringing us down, Randy.
Bring it down.
I'm in danger.
A weakness like if we were making a comic book, not weakness for real life.
Diarrhea.
Yeah, like
diarrhea forever.
No, I think that I find
God.
his strength in running very admirable because he has gone through some issues.
He's not running, he's strong.
Yeah.
So what's his weakness? I'll do it. You have uncontrollable bowel movement. Okay, there you go.
This is disgusting. This isn't even normal.
Hold on. Only after he lifts something very heavy. As long as he doesn't lift anything.
I didn't know we were going deep in
We are being ha.
Oh,
not real.
Okay.
Randy just got so serious. He just like totally took the air out of her. I don't want to play anymore. Do you have another question?
Oh wait, we don't get to give you a weakness?
Yeah. No, because you guys are ready now. I've attacked both of you. Are you okay, Phil?
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
I'm over here with diarrhea forever.
As long as you're not strong, you're fine.
Yeah, he's got his depends on. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this was going to lead to my next thing. Your top 2 favorite genres of movies. So for me, I'll give you an example, is horror and superhero. So those are my top 2 favorite genres of movies.
What was that again?
Horror movies and superhero movies.
Okay.
So
mine are easy. I'm going to go. So mine are rom-coms. I love stories. My favorites are Hallmark movies. And Kevin really loves when I watch Hallmark movies because I start to watch a Hallmark movie and I always fall asleep. So we have to watch it like 6 times to get through it. So he really knows the actors and all that on Hallmark now. He identifies actors when they're on other stuff. That's how good he is. And then my other thing would be not necessarily TV, but I love live theater, like live musicals and love theater itself. What about you?
I love action adventures. Those are always fun. And then kind of with you, like some rom-coms, or even Devil Wears Prada, those kinds of movies. Just fun. I just want something fun and immersive so I don't have to worry about it.
I know,
too
without
much.
all the bad stuff, right? Like one of my favorite go-tos is a very old classic. I hope you've seen it. You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. My mom and I used to watch that. And so it's one of those that are very special to me.
I like movies. My favorite movie of all time is The Color Purple. I've watched it about 32 times.
Wow.
And it's because I love the strength that comes from that. So sometimes when I'm feeling the weight of the world, I'll watch a movie like that to kind of lift me out of it. And then, of course, I love comedy. I love Will and Grace. And I just saw The Devil Wears Prada. It was really funny. Yeah, I saw the 2.
It was good. Yeah, it was really good. Did you see it, Wes?
I haven't seen 2 yet.
I'm
excited.
I saw 2. It was really good.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I liked 1 and I liked 2. So.
It takes her a little bit in the beginning to get into the Miranda character.
Wait, but I got to ask you, are you Miranda or are you Andy?
Oh, I'm Andy.
I'm Andy.
I think I'm a little bit of both. I have times where I can be, people always see this laughing kind of aside of me. There's other times where I'm extremely serious, and my expectations of the people around me that I work with, and I know you probably feel this way on your own board, is very high.
So he loves to say, that's all.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
That's all.
That's all. That's exactly true.
All right, Phil, we're ready for the next one.
Okay. All right. This one's going to be a little serious here.
Uh-oh.
Well, Randy, you did it. All right, guys. So, how do you balance your personal beliefs with the opinions of your constituents?
Ooh.
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, Randy. It's going to go to all of us.
I can suggest, even last night, I had an amazing, because I'm doing a lot of neighborhood events, and it was basically all these different people coming together from all different types, walks of life. And to me, that was a real test, because this is a nonpartisan race. And you've got to be able to listen to all those folks. There were some people that showed up there that probably didn't know me and just were curious as to where I sit on certain things. Sunrail was a big topic and all those. So I think it's that balance between, I'm very, very keenly aware that I cannot, that as a moderate, that I need to maintain that space. And I would say that I feel that's what you've done as well. And that's why this district, whether you're in Taft or downtown or wherever, Belle Isle, they respond well to people that take the time, and I think it's just consistent with what Wes kind of said, take time to listen. I don't have all the answers. I've got to listen to people, and if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find it.
Wes, what do you think?
It's, you try to always listen to the community. We've been in this space, and when you hit that nerve, they let you know.
Yeah.
And those are the easy times, living here, I feel like the community values reflect mine. We embrace protection. We embrace giving opportunity to everybody. We embrace the diversity that is our community. I mean, this is an amazingly wonderful melting pot. If I get into a pinch, my morals will kick in. I believe that when we look at our Constitution, that's kind of what our principles are. And there have been times where there's laws that go against our Constitution, and those will ultimately be decided by a court. But, I try to think about what is best for my community and what our values are. And so usually we're in alignment pretty much. And sometimes the people will tell you where you need to be. And no matter what your morals or values are, you listen to the people because you represent them. You're there for them, and you're not there for yourself.
Exactly. And I like to answer this question, and then I'm going to wrap up with you guys. I've been on this road now for 7 years, and I always told myself, and everyone knows I'm a person of faith. I mean, I even have my daughter Faith. But when I got in this, I got into it for the reason like you all. I really wanted to do something different in my community. And I felt good about it. It felt good in my heart, and it felt good in my spirit. Have I been challenged to the ugly side of politics? Yes, 100%. Has it been unattractive and made me not want to be a part of politics? Yes. And then that makes me realize that I'm on the right path. Because if it becomes normal and okay, then that's when it's wrong. That's when your moral compass is wrong. But I will tell you, at the end of the day, I don't want to lose who I am. And I will tell this one last story before I go into you all. I was speaking to a group of scouts, and I had this 10-year-old girl ask me, and it was way out of nowhere, right? And they ask silly questions, like how they are. But she goes, what do you want to be known for? And that was the first time anyone had ever asked me that. And I was like, wow, and then I thought about it, and I said, and by the way, if you guys know scouts, the parents are always there. So the kids sit in the front and the parents in the back. And I said, well, I want to be known as a good wife and a good mother, a good neighbor, a good friend, a good person. And I said, maybe like 10, 11, a good commissioner. Because if I'm known for being a good politician or a community leader, I don't think I did right by my life. Doesn't mean for others, but for me and who I am and what we do this for. And with that, I'm going to ask both of the candidates to look directly at the camera. Say their name, say what they're running for, say why, and why they want your support for their upcoming election. And with that, I'm going to start with Wes. We started with Randy. So Wes, look at the camera and say who you are, what you're running for, why, and why you're asking for their vote.
Sure. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wes Hodge. I'm running for Orange County Commission, District 2. I'm running because I feel like our community deserves solid representation on the Board of County Commission. We need someone that listens to the people, someone that will make sure that our values are advocated for, making sure that we keep development in check, make sure that we provide livable wages for our workers, especially our first responders, making sure that we are providing a positive environment for our next generation, our kids, and then also making sure that our tourism, pays their fair share, that they are not exploiting us as a community to thrive. We can peacefully coexist together, but I want to make sure that we're working as a community to make sure that this happens. So if we want to talk about sustainable growth, we want to talk about ensuring that we have affordability, that we can afford to live and work in Orange County, That's what I'm here to fight for. I'm not a career politician. I'm not someone that's looking to, boost this on my resume. I'm looking to serve. I've worked for the county for many years. I know the issues. I know the process, most importantly. And I think that we're ready to move District 2 forward and work together as a community.
Thank you, Wes. And Randy, with a smile.
Hey, I'm Randy Ross. I'm your candidate for Orange County Commission District 3. electrandyross.com. I want to make sure I get that in there. You said something earlier that inspired me to also talk about it, and that is I want to be remembered for my dash. That time between when you're born and when you pass away, all that work in between is what brings me to this place to run for Orange County Commission. I want to remind people that I'm all about safety. Safe communities are thriving communities. I'm with Wes and you, for that matter, and making sure that we don't impact tourism, but tourism is impacting us. So we've got to work harder to carve out pieces for us, so our taxpayers aren't getting the burden. That is the tourists that are bearing that burden. They're going to come anyway. The numbers are there. They're going to definitely come. And I also want to make sure, and I know it's probably the least of my platform issues, but it's so important: health and fitness and senior care. I was 225 pounds up until 2002. I always considered myself fat Randy. Yeah, here I was doing this program with Title I students. And I realize I'm still I look in the mirror still now and I see fat Randy. A lot of overweight people do. You start correlating that to the fact that I turned 60 this year. 60, you feel it. You feel 60. I can't imagine what it's going to feel like in the future. And I think that's why it's so important for me. I'm not protecting just my future when it comes to seniors. I'm protecting the people that don't have a caregiver out there. I've illustrated that as one of my number one priorities, and I live it every single day. That is something that we have to do in a way that, coming up, we've got a lot of seniors moving to Orange County, and our services that are available are going to be taxed even more heavily. And also, I'll be candid with you, one of the issues that came up last night was animal services, and it's certainly one of the hot buttons and it's one of the boards that I put folks on for. It's a very high passion point in our community, no matter what district you live in, and certainly in District 3, because we are a bedroom community. Whether that's raccoons, opossums, dogs, cats, whatever, they're all sitting out there. So I think if you put those all together, and you're looking for the most well-rounded candidate in this race, I know for a fact that's not me. That's me. I don't have to look at the other candidates. I wish them all well. I have nothing against any of them. electrandyross.com. You can find out more there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in for another In Focus, where we talk about our candidates running in Central Florida. Thank you both, Randy and Wes, for being here. Thank you for coming together, and make sure you vote. August 18th is a primary election, and then if no one wins, because someone could if they get 50% plus one, you make sure you vote in the November election. There is an expectation that people will not vote this election cycle. Let's prove them wrong, Orange County, because your vote is your voice. I'm Mayra Uribe, your current Orange County Commissioner District 3 and candidate for Orange County Mayor, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.